Well, I'm here to tell you I do belong here, and I'm here to do my little podcast. And today we're a week removed from coming back from Las Vegas. Digital Moxy went to Las Vegas. We had a hell of a trip. We finally decided to go and see U2 at the Sphere. You know, when they first announced it, we were up in the air about whether or not we were going to go. And then luckily my brother-in-law said, hey, we're going. You want to come? You know, because I was on the fence. Tickets were pretty expensive, between $500 and $1,000. Not that I couldn't afford it, but that's a big ticket. But then when you get there and you see the immensity of the Sphere, and you see how incredible, how awesome that thing is, the way the lights just glow, you know, different patterns on her. One minute you'd see a robot, the next minute you'd see a cat, next thing you'd see swirls, next you'd see an eyeball. It was just really something that needed to be experienced, and to experience it with that rock band made it that much more special. Considering I grew up with U2 in the 80s. I mean, it's an 80s band if you really want to break it down, who started in the late 70s. And they peaked in the 80s. I'd say with Joshua Tree, they never looked back. They've just been rock stars, real true to the word rock stars for all those years. I grew up with them. They grew up with us, and I'm so glad I went. You get there, and it's just throngs of people. Oh man, it was so crowded, and just like any concert, you have the anxiety of, man, we gotta get there. We gotta get our good seat. We don't, what if the opening act comes on and this and that? You always have, I always go through that. I don't know about you, but I always go through that personally. I mean, maybe I'm a concert nerd, or I just haven't gone to enough concerts in my life. But we got there, and we went to at the Venetian Hotel. They had a U2 museum. They had set it up in the hotel. And we got there a little late, like an hour before the show. So, but there were so many people going to the show that we said, hey, let's double back. We're gonna go to the museum, and we're gonna see what we see, and take our time there. And because the band wasn't gonna start till a little bit later, they do that on purpose. And so we got to that museum, and they had a sound stage in there. They had props from other concerts. They had a photo booth. I took a picture in that photo booth. It was just like a reminiscent throwback to Achtung Baby, or to that whole era. They had all the posters that you wanted. Reasonably priced, $30, $40 for a good poster. I ended up buying one for my house because I have a wall to the left of me, or no, to the right of me, where I go to concerts, and I put all the posters on the wall. But it was like a foil covering on it, and it kind of got jacked up in transportation. I got kind of angry about that, so I ended up buying 2 more through the mail, but they were nowhere near as thick and as good as the one that I had purchased. So, I'm up in the air about leaving it on the wall, but since I went to that concert, I'm gonna keep it. It's mine. So, it has a battle scar on it, a battle wound. Sometimes I like taking those. You kind of want to take those packing canisters, but then you're always worried about, well, if the security's gonna tell you, oh, you can't bring that in here because you could use it as a weapon. I mean, I've been to baseball games where you can't have bottles because supposedly you'll use that as a weapon, or even concerts. Rock bands, you can only serve you in cups. They didn't want to give you cans or bottles. That happened to me at the Cure concert, And that guy there, Robert Smith, the lead singer, I guess that's his name, for The Cure. I mean, there's one dude there, scary looking dude. Now, he might have been a pretty boy back in the 80s, but he has not aged well. And he hasn't changed his look in over 40 years. With the mascara, it just looks terrible. Terrible. Don't be afraid, bro. Change it up a little. You know, that's what I always... When I see him, he's god ugly. You know, he's scary looking, you know? And I went to that concert. I'm jumping to the Cure concert real quick. And they got some good songs, but they were playing some boring music for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then towards the end of the concert, then they played all their hits. Like, oh man, it was horrible. You don't want to believe that about The Cure, but their concert wasn't that good. Only if I would have showed up there just for the last 25 minutes, it would have been great. But I had to sit there for the whole duration of the thing, you know, which I don't mind. You know, it's one of those rock bands that you scratch off the list. You know, they were big in the 80s. They had some hits in the 90s, and the thing is, their heyday was the 80s. So, you know, they were on the rock concert hit list. And so, you know, we go to let's go back to U2. So we get to the concert venue. You scan, now, you know, you get scanned like you're going through airport security. They check you, they wand you and everything. You got to figure it was an international crowd in that place. I mean, Las Vegas attracts people from all over the world. Considering the scope of that concert, that was going to be a concert for the ages, if you think about it. I mean, they had people from Argentina, you had people from Mexico, you had people from Europe. It was a big to-do. It really was. And you go into this venue, and it is humongous. The lobby itself, you know, you go in there, you look up, you know, you see escalators going up, you see like art, you know, like the architecture that's in there, you know, the stuff that they had hanging was just architecturally beautiful, you know, and it was just a good vibe, it was a good atmosphere, you know, you use the washrooms, it's a brand new place, the washrooms were very nice, you know, I had to use the washroom, and it was clean, everything was clean. That shouldn't be a big deal, but you got to figure most of us go to concerts I go to a lot of open air concerts, and your facilities are porta-johns, you know, or if you go to like around here in the Chicagoland area, you go to the Rosemont Horizon, or you go to the United Center, and those places are dated, and the facilities are not what they used to be. I mean, they get the job done. You go in there, you do what you got to do, but you know, when you walk into a facility that's really nice, like, you take note, and that's what happened. I took note. I'm like, wow, this is nice, you know. So you go in there. We had great seats, and the optics in that place, the screen itself was like 3 stories high, man, and everything that they showed on the screen, it just looked so real. The band sounded great. Anywhere we sat, the reverberation, the bass, everything came in. It was just there. It was just like thick and mellow, and it just sounded buttery, and I loved it, you know. And he went through his whole he went through the catalog. I don't have the list. I should have the list. Sorry, I don't have the list. But you know, they played the songs that you expected to hear. And then they threw a couple, they did like a impromptu Rock the Casbah, and they did impromptu Walk on a Wild Side, and it was just very intimate, even though there was like, I don't know, I want to say 25, 30,000 people there. To me, it seemed like it was that many, if not more, but it was just felt so intimate. Like when you first get in there, they had a DJ in the middle by the stage. He was driving he was set up in a car. It really wasn't a car per se, but it was kind of a car. It was made to look like a car, even though some kind of, you know, I don't know. I can't even say what it was. It was like, it was a performance car. It wasn't really like on the street car. It was made for the show, because the guy had the turntables there. He was playing 80s music, and I'm thinking like, which is cool. I mean, like I said, U2 is an '80s band, man. So all the music they were playing was a lot of their contemporaries that aren't even in the game anymore, and they're still here. They're still standing there. And my brother-in-law was saying that this might be their last concert. This is the way they top it off. But they still, the guy's only in his 60s. They still got. I think they still got some concerts in them. And if they do it again at the venue in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, I'll go again. It was definitely worth the price of admission. It really was. Las Vegas, great time. The Strip is really nice. I mean, we got there. We had a 3-hour flight. We flew in Southwestern. It's not bad. But now it's just snacks. When I was a younger man, you'd get a little meal. Now it's just snacks, which is fine. So we're in the air. We get off the air. We get in the hotel. The hotel check-in time is like 3:30. We get there. We left the house at 5 in the morning, so we're getting there 7, 8 in the morning, 9. So we get to the hotel. We take an Uber to the hotel. We don't want to check in because it's too early. So we check our bags, and we said, well, let's make a joust, a jaunt around the city. Let's go to a couple restaurants. Let's go look at the casinos, and we found our way towards Fremont. We wanted to go to Fremont Street, so they have what's that called? It's like a subway. It's like a light rail system. A shuttle. It takes you to specific hotels. So we bought the day pass. We get up there. We're in there. We're just exploring. And we get to the end of the line, and then we didn't realize that Fremont Street was still like 45 minute walk from where we were at. Maybe 55 minutes. I looked on Google. So, I'm in dress shoes. I got my clothes. I'm thinking we're going to the concert tonight. So I wanted to go dressed up, with some decent clothes. I mean, I was going to probably change out of that clothes and put my other clothes on, but we didn't have a chance to get dressed up and all that. So, man, we were walking for like 30 minutes. And then we said, you know what? Forget this. We started seeing homeless people. We started seeing like the seedier side of Las Vegas, which that was part of the tour we didn't expect to see, And that's a real interesting thing. Everything on the Strip is beautiful. That's the part, that they want you to see. But this other part, man, Las Vegas looks rough. The old part of Las Vegas looks rough. So we finally got on a bus. We said, screw this, let's take a bus. So we get to Fremont Street. And Fremont Street is pretty cool. I mean, if you ever seen the old James Bond movie, you see some of the hotels that were, that used to be a active street. Cars could go up and down it. But what they did is they put a LED screen the length of a whole 2 blocks or a block. And then they closed off the street, so it's just for foot traffic. And it's a really cool experience. They got little circles where performers could sit and do stuff. I mean, if you get there early and you're a performer and you're a crackhead, you could dance, and hopefully people will give you a donation. And that was just like, oh man, it's kind of rough to see that. Even when we walked off of Fremont Street more towards the mob museum, I seen a guy just stretched out on the floor, on the pavement. It was, he was a homeless person. Seen another guy just walking around in socks, and it's like, man, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, but it's just the disparity of the haves and have-nots, and where we're at in this country, and and it's a sad state of affairs, especially now with the immigrant crisis that we have now. That's going to be a domino effect. You'll see more people that you'll see immigrants that can't make it in this society, especially when you come here without knowing the language and not having a set of skills or being employable. I mean, or you're underemployed versus being underqualified, which is sad. I don't even want to talk about that. It's on the fringe of politics. My podcast I will dabble with that, but not right now. I just want to tell you about the Vegas trip, you know. So we go up and down the strip on Fremont Street, which is kind of cool. I'd gone there maybe a couple years before, and I remember it. I was more excited the first time because I'd never been there, and then the second time going there in the middle of the day, the shine really wore off, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. So we ended up going back. You know, we spent a couple hours there. At least we got to see that part of Las Vegas. We get back. We were staying at the Flamingo. Oh man, for an old hotel, you know, they've redone it, but it's fabulous. It's really nice. I mean, considering Bugsy Siegel gave his life for it because the mob didn't appreciate what they had, so they knocked him off. But where the Flamingo is, it's across the street from Caesar's Palace. It's not even it's kitty corner right next to the Link. It's just in a great place, and we went there. We ended up eating breakfast. We went to the room, hung out, freshened up, and then it was time for dinner. We went down. We went to well, we didn't go to dinner that night. We went the next night, but for that evening, we went to In-N-Out Burger because it's in that whole area where the Flamingo is. And you know, everybody always makes a big deal about In-N-Out Burger. They're okay. I mean, it's not to die for, right? I mean, there's stuff here in Chicago that's to die for compared to that. But it was good. It was not terrible, but it was decent. It was decent fare, put it that way. So, you know, we walked to the venue. And I told you, like I said, you know, everything I told you about the walk, getting there, and seeing how big it was, going to the museum, and then hearing the band play, and then leaving there. It was just like, you know, it was just such a great experience. So then we got back to the, you know, after the concert, we got back, and, you know, we had some drinks, did a little gambling, and we called it a night. The next 2 nights, we ended up going to, you know, we were leaving the next, we only stayed there 2 days. The next night we went to, you know, we went to Wahlburgers. Very good. I like Wahlburgers. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed them burgers. And then, like I said, we just hung out for most of the day. And for dinner, we ended up going to Ramsey's Kitchen. And he's got a couple of restaurants over there. You got Hell's Kitchen. We couldn't get in that. You got Ramsey's, and we got in there. I had some decent food in that place. I can't say nothing bad about Chef Ramsay. You know, it was well made. The place was magnificent, you know. Hell's Kitchen, I wish we could have got there, but we couldn't get there. Well, it was still a great experience. But he had another burger joint that we ended up going to Planet Hollywood because we were going to go see Mind Freak, Chris Angel's Mind Freak. And that guy puts on a great show. He had the TV show. It still baffles your mind to just these illusionists, the things they do. I mean, I'm not going to divulge too many of his tricks, but there's one where he walks vertical right down the side of a ladder, and it just blows my mind that he could do that, and I don't have no clue on how he can do that. And he did another, you know, he did like a Prestige type magic trick where he disappears on stage, ends up in the crowd, and my sister said, hey, it's probably a double, you know, which is very believable, you know. I mean, come on, it's not real magic. Magic, because we don't know what it is, but magic is a very intricate thing. If you know, it's a very scientific, you know, endeavor. If you're in that, and I really always have loved magicians and respect magicians, and it's just, you know, they make it look if they can make it look seamless, then they got you right where they want you. So right after that, we went to, what was that? The MGM. It was by the Luxor. I forget the name. But we went to see Michael Jackson's One with Cirque du Soleil. Very good show. I mean, especially if you grew up listening to Michael Jackson music. Like when I grew up, that was always on the radio. I mean, you couldn't, even as a child, I mean, little Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, Then you had him in '84. He was the biggest thing in the world. The moonwalk, the dancing. You know, yeah, he was a little different, but the thing is, the guy was talented. And that show was pretty good. You had people rappelling from up top. You had people jumping on springs and jumping to the second floor of on the stage. It was really, really impressive. We wanted to see the Beatles show, but we didn't make that show. But I was thoroughly pleased with seeing Michael Jackson. So at the end of it all, you know, we get back to the hotel. We left the next day, and we got back to Midway Airport, landed in Sweet Home, Chicago, and that was that trip. That was the wrap up on the U2 tour, or the U2 trip. So I'm supposed to go back there in April to see B-52, their closing out tour. I'm definitely gonna probably get a lot more footage on this next trip than I did this one. This trip I was a guest, so I didn't really have the freedom the way I needed it, to be able to move around and do my thing. I had to stay with the group. But the next go around is gonna be my deal, so I'm gonna do and go wherever I want and do it the way I want to do it on my schedule, and it should be all right. It should be pretty good. That's a band that, they're pretty good, for their era, and it's another band that started in the late '70s and morphed into the '80s, and their heyday for me was the '80s. They were pretty rocking back then. So what else is new? Super Bowl's coming up. Big story, Taylor Swift, because she's with, Kelsey, whatever, that Kelsey, or that football player. So, they're trying to make her out to be a bad person, and then there's all these conspiracy theories about her. I mean, who knows? Who knows what and who knows where? Is she Illuminati? Is she not Illuminati? I don't know. I don't listen to her music, but her level of success, some people think, oh, that's just an incredible amount of success in the span of 5, 7, 8 years. I mean, the first time I ever saw her was when Kanye West went on stage, grabbed his trophy or her trophy, smashed it. It says, George Bush don't like black people. And that's the first time my first experience was seeing Taylor Swift. She had experienced that. And she's been a mega superstar ever since. If we're going to look at mega superstars, I would have to say that I like Taylor Swift more than I like Beyonce and her husband, Jay-Z. Especially since Jay-Z put out a movie that bombed. I mean, it was a very blasphemous movie. And the man literally attacks Christianity, or he attacks Jesus in the movies that he makes, the statements that he makes. So to me, it's utter trash, and I wouldn't waste my time even seeing it, because I'm not even gonna, that kind of stuff. It's just a device. It's a device to make us divisive in this country. We don't need that, man. We don't need that kind of crap in this country. This country's got enough issues. And artists, they're there to entertain. They're not there to get political. They're not there to make statements. And if attacking someone's religion is part of your artistry, then I want nothing to do with it. No, thank you. Yesterday, Tucker Carlson did the big Putin meeting. He sat there with Putin, and Putin gave him a history lesson on why Russia is supposed to be taking back the Ukraine. At the end of the day, man, that's a slippery slope, and I don't even want to make a commentary on that. I don't really know why we're sending all that kind of aid to these countries like that, when we got our own problems here. We got our own economy to deal with, and we're just printing money and we're giving it away, There's got to be a better way, a better solution. And I think that solution is going to get elected. I think Donald Trump is going to get in there, and he might be able, I don't know how much of a difference he can make, but I think he could start calming the circumstances down a little more. I don't know, he would probably definitely cut aid to those countries. He he has a better rapport. He had a better rapport with Putin. I mean, he was criticized for it. The homeless, I mean the illegal immigrants. His answer is he's already said, we're gonna see the most massive deportation ever to happen in this country. Well, let's not forget that there already have been massive deportations when the government would pick Mexicans right off the street, even American citizens, and took them back and deported them to Mexico when they were born and raised in America. And that's the thing, you know, I'm all for deportation, but if they start grabbing people like me, I mean, I'm an American citizen. I mean, I could communicate in Spanish, but I'm an American. I was born and raised here. I'm part of this fabric here, and it's the only thing that you worry about is, like, you know what? Hispanics or Latinos in general have become the poster child of illegal immigration, but not necessarily, because you have a lot of Chinese coming in that wave. You have Arabs coming in that wave. And you basically, mark my words, you have terrorist cells coming through the open borders. And they're going to come here. And you're not going to see it today. And you might not see it tomorrow. But I guarantee you, you're going to see something involving one of those rogue agents that got through under the wire. And we have to be vigilant of that. That's something that I think, as an American and as an America, we have to really be on top of, because at any given moment, chaos could erupt. So please, I mean, always be vigilant. Especially, you know, I mean, I live in Chicago, and you got to be vigilant in Chicago. I mean, you could be cutting your grass and somebody. I mean, I don't like to tell people that, but it's happened, and so it's within the realm of possibility that you could be cutting your grass and somebody will walk up to you and pull a gun out on you. But that's an extreme, and that doesn't happen all the time. And I don't want to destroy anybody's. I don't want to hurt the Tourism Bureau of Chicago, you know, because it's still a nice place to come to in the summer. So yeah, as far as my vlogging and my thing is, I'm stuck in the middle. I'm doing a podcast here, so I'm not really blogging, or I would say it's vlogging, but it's got a major in podcasting, you know. So when I'm doing my YouTube channel, it's a major in YouTubing and a minor in podcasting. You know, you could define it any way you want. I'm actually working off my new camera, my Sony ZV-E10. That's what it is, you know. And it's pretty cool. It's really nice. Here it is. Here's the box. I still got the box in front of me. Yeah, it's my ZV-E10. I'm able to see myself in the viewfinder, and my sign in the back is as it should be. If you see my other videos, they're backwards. That's on this side of the room, and that's on this side of the room, because the camera is a front. I mean, when you do the camera, my camera phone, you're using it like in a selfie mode. So everything that you look at is going to be in reverse. So it's going to be backwards. I mean, the phone actually did a very nice job as far as video quality. Even sound was pretty decent. There's some things here that I want to do with this phone. I'm going to get a better microphone. I'm going to upgrade the microphone. You could actually get other lenses for it. I got another camera coming, an Osmo 3, DJ Osmo 3 or something like that. And the reviews on that are pretty good. That's got a built-in gimbal, but that'll be my man on the street video camera. And I'm going to try to, you know, I'm still going to use this one, but this one will be my primary home camera. And from all the reviews I've read on it, it's a pretty phenomenal camera. I'm probably going to get the cage for it. So I'm still building up my podcast arsenal. I'll get the cage, the camera cage for the camera. That way it's protected. I'm going to get a whole lighting system, you know, where, you know, this big light and a tripod, and it's gonna light up my whole situation 100 times better than. Actually, the lighting in here isn't that bad, but you know what? I'm one of them guys that I want to go full bore. You know, my podcast is gonna improve. You know, I'll have, you know, I could have the big microphones, I could have, you know, the headphones, I could have the whole look. But the thing is that when I start going in that direction, I'm going to want to do extra cameras. I'm going to want to interview other people. I'm going to be able to, you know, if I'm talking to this person, then the point of view of the camera could change to that other person, to me. I just want to make everything more professional. And, you know, people say, well, look, it doesn't really matter how, you know, that people are going to consume your content because of you, not because of the way you're delivering it. I would partially disagree with that. You know, people want to hear, if the audio sounds crappy, that's going to turn people off. So the audio, that's probably the number one rule. Have good audio on your podcast. Second rule, you know, have good transitions, have good editing. Yeah, you know, it's nice if you're starting out and you look rough, but your responsibility when you're doing something like this is to always try to improve yourself. Improve your tonality, improve, you know, how high you're speaking, how low you're speaking, the way you're looking into the camera. To me, all those things they're all part of it. You know, that's what makes a podcast. Well, this is a video podcast, but even just the mechanics to putting out a good product, putting out good content. I'm really big on that. If you're gonna do it right, and that's just what I believe in. And yeah, for me, it took me a long time to just really start lining everything up and decide, like, look, man, I'm in this. This is my thing, and I'm gonna do this. Because for a long time, I was always gonna do it, never did it. And then I did it, and then I didn't do it. So the thing is, now I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it, and I really, really enjoy the place and space that I'm in right now. I have the time, I have the freedom to work on my craft, because this is my craft. This is what I will do, as far as providing the equipment, and then providing my time, and then trying to apply my skills, and by editing, by, you know, production value. Everything's got to come together, because like I said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing the right way. And that's just how I came up, and that's how I believe it, you know. And baby steps, man. I mean, you got to figure I started this like in the last, like the third week of January, third week of January. And now we're in the third week of February. And I'm actually working on the podcast side of this. And I also have my other channel, which I'm still trying to find my footing. I'm still trying to define who I am as a podcaster, as a YouTuber. And the thing is that instead of sitting around thinking about, well, what do I want to be, or who am I? The thing is, like, you just got to do it, man. You're going to be like water. You're going to find your own level. And, you know, I'm thinking like more on my podcast side. I like it because it's more long form. I could talk into the camera. I could have a conversation. And then sometimes I think, like, dude, you must really like talking, or you like talking to yourself. Because at this moment, this is all I'm really doing. Because I don't know who's listening to my podcast. I don't know who's watching my videos. So it's basically me just talking to myself, or talking into the stratosphere. But, you know, I put that intention out already to the universe. So, yeah, I do expect people to begin to listen. People are going to be magically attracted to me. They're going to find my space on YouTube, whether it be at podcasts, whether it be at channels, and they're going to become subscribers. Yeah, don't let you know. Please subscribe. I'm going to ask you. I mean, I haven't. That's a call. They call that a call to action. So if you like the content that I've been providing, please please subscribe. It helps out the channel. It does help out the channel. It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like, you know what? Somebody's listening to me. Somebody's enjoying the content that I'm giving them. And you know what? It becomes a mutual relationship. I don't know who you are. You are learning to know who I am. But the thing is that I know you're a pretty good person if you put a like on my, if you put a thumbs up or a like and you subscribe. That would mean the world to me. It really would mean the world to me. So this is where I don't want to say I'm groveling for you to do that for me, but it's a little semi-grovel, so I gave it to you. But thank you either way. And I do this because I love to do this. I really like to do this. And like I said, my next evolution on the podcast, like I said, is to have guests. I want to be able to interact with other people. I want to ask the right questions, which is there is no right questions, but to be able to get intimate on with a person, you know, in a conversational sense, and to get to the crux of the matter, to dig deep and get to know somebody for that short amount of time. That's the art right there. The art of conversation, the art of dissemination, the art of being able to ask a question and evoke an answer. And the thing is that when I interview you, it's going to be more than just an interview. We're gonna connect, you know. And the thing is that for me, you don't have to be a celebrity for me to interview you. You can just be a regular person, because you know what? I'm a regular person. And if I find regular people like me interesting, I find myself to be interesting to myself, because I am my own product. I have to be the product, because if I don't believe in myself, then I obviously don't find myself interesting. But I believe in who I am, and I believe in what I can do for my audience, and that's just give you guys a quality product. So enough of that. I think I've talked too much about that already. Sometimes I do get tired of hearing myself talk, but the thing is that if I could bring you back and bring up an engaging conversation or an engaging topic, then I'm doing the podcast justice. So this is my Club Eddie studio. This is what I call this space. And the podcast itself is called Digital Moxy. The reason I call this Club Eddie is because I had a friend. I'm a pipe fitter by trade. That's what I do for a living. When I'm not doing podcasts, I'm a union worker. I work around heavy industrial, and I had a friend that I met him on one of these jobs, and we just started hanging out. We became fast friends, and then he just loved the fact that I had jukeboxes, and we just would just jam out to the jukeboxes, drink some beers, listen to music. There's nothing better than a jukebox, man. It's like a time machine. All the music on there is a hit, because I picked all that music out. I lived all that music. It's from a bygone era, my era. And he just started, hey, this is Club Eddie. And the name just stuck with me. As you can see on my top left, or your right hand side, you can see the sign that says Club Eddie. It's in purple. I got my 3 jukeboxes in the back. I got more over there. I got some in the basement. And I did have a jukebox channel, but you're kind of limited. You really can't play music from the jukeboxes on your channel, because you get a copyright strike. You could show the boxes, you could see it moving, and you could play it. Then you got to stop it. So I felt like I couldn't really do that channel justice, because it was very limited. It's a very small niche thing. You either like jukeboxes or you don't. And if you do like jukeboxes, YouTube don't like it, because they're gonna hit you with a copyright strike. So here, I could talk about jukeboxes, I could talk about anything, and I could carry a conversation with my opinion and share with you the things that I want to do with this podcast. Another big thing that I like to do is I like motivational speak. I just love being able to initiate within a person a motivation to want to do something correctly, to want to be a better person. Because I really believe that everybody wants to do good. Everybody wants the keys to success. But everybody's got to be focused on the keys to success. And you got to practice what you preach, and you got to reiterate it to yourself. And the thing is that, now that where I'm at in my age, I'm a parent, so your whole job is you're a motivational speaker if you think about it, because you got to tell the kids, come on, you could do it, you can go to school, you could be this, you could be that. And then, and then you got a spouse. Well, I don't have a spouse at the moment. You got a wife, you got to build her up. It says, baby, I love you, you're going to be all right, everything's going to be good. And everything's about motivating people around you. And if you're good at it, then you have a lot of motivated people around you, and people, you feel the temperature, and they're in a good place. They're feeling good, So yeah, look out on the channel. You'll see. I just made a couple clips about motivation. I get the mood right. I bust out some. I just do like just get a vibe, and I just do like I just like let it flow. I just do a motivational flow, It's just stuff inside of me that it comes out. I compress it in my mind, and I just shoot it out, and I aim it towards motivation. So I hope if you catch my shorts or you catch other videos on my channel, that you click on them and you enjoy them. I really hope that you enjoy them. I hope they spark you. I hope they initiate you for positivity and get you locked in. Well, I'm gonna call this a wrap. And like I always tell people, I'm into jukeboxes. I'm into 45s. So when you had a 45, it was like a record that ran 45 RPMs, revolutions per minute. So then when you had that kind of record, it would be pressed, and you'd have two sides to that record. So one of the things people say is like, I'll see you on the flip side. So you know what? I'll see you on the flip side.